Hey everyone, welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm your geology teacher, Jen, and today we're doing Fossil Friday with Diplodocus. Diplodocus, meaning double beam, refers to the double beam chevrons that it has on the bottom of its caudal vertebrae. So those are the tail vertebrae. It was discovered by this guy here, S.W. Williston, and named by our buddy Othniel Charles Marsh. It is from the late Jurassic Morrison Formation of North America. And Diplodocus carnegie is one of the longest dinosaurs known from a complete skeleton. This is a picture I took during the GSA conference last October while I was at the Carnegie Mellon Museum. It's my grandpa in the red coat. My grandpa? I think that's my grandma, actually, over by the painting. Anyway, besides the point. Diplodocus has a tail made of 80 caudal vertebrae. A lot of vertebrae. It has been speculated that the tail could have been used as a defensive or noise-making weapon, that it could be used much like a whip. Or it was simply a counterbalance for the neck. In 2015, there was a paper written by Foth and others that seems to indicate the weaponized use of the tail. They never outright say that a sauropod did it, but they had an Allosaurus who had damage to his left scapula and all of the ribs on his left side, and that these injuries were caused by a sudden traumatic event, such as getting the smackdown from an angry Diplodocid. But, I mean, that's really just opinions of people like me. Then again, I also think that the whip cracking sound would be super freaking cool. And, I mean, why not have a super awesome use for that tail if you're gonna have it? Diplodocus has some other cool features too. So if we look at his leg here, down at his foot, he has a single large claw on the front of each foot that we have no idea what it's used for. Woo! It has 15 cervical vertebrae, at least, in its neck, and, more importantly, or maybe not more importantly, but more exciting, we have fossilized skin. Look at all this cool skin. Woo, skin. Whee. The last super cool feature of its bones is that, like all sauropods, it had pneumatic vertebrae. This means that the vertebrae were full of holes that would connect to the respiratory system, just like birds. So it's been presumed that they had air sacs, which would make them a lot lighter. The bones would be a lot lighter. Their breathing would be way more efficient than what we have. Kinda jealous, but super cool. Over the years, there has been some debate about how Diplodocus and its relatives would have held its neck and head. Some believe that it could lift its head up like this to browse high branches. Others believe that their neck didn't have the flexibility to do that, and so they'd hold it out straight like that. And it's interesting that they all seem to have a little bit of a curve, except for our Diplodocus there. It looks kind of ridiculous, but that's beside the point. Personally, I think it was probably a little bit of both. Why? I mean, it makes the most sense when you think about it logically. Like, why have a long neck if you can't move it a little bit to get to food that others can't reach? Take advantage of it, because feeding is really, like, top priority to things that are this size. So, I mean, just seems logical to me. Another debate, I guess, along with that feeding, is could they tripod feed? So tripod feeding just means, could it rear up on its back legs and use its tail as a sort of seat so that it could reach plants higher up than it normally would have been able to? Seems, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen it depicted. I mean, Land Before Time has done it. Jurassic Park has done it. might actually be possible, guys. The base of the tail is incredibly muscular and very strong, and it can take a lot of stress, like, say, a couple tons of dinosaurs sitting on it for short periods of time to get food. So we're not saying that he would just sit there and prop himself, like a dog or a cat, but that it would use it to rear up, sit for a moment, strip some plants, and rear back down. The tail could take that if it wanted to. Speaking of important parts about feeding, teeth are an important part, and Diplodocus and his fam had some weird-ass teeth. I mean, look at these suckers. They're long and skinny and kind of pointy, and they don't look like any other sauropod teeth. They're weird. The wear on these teeth shows that they would have used these for unilateral strip feeding. So if you can think back to when you were a kid and you would just take a branch and just strip all the leaves off with one hand, that's kind of the idea of how these guys would have been feeding. So they weren't chewing anything, they were just stripping and swallowing. So that is a little bit about Diplodocus. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of this photograph, there is a vertebrae there. That is a vertebrae of a Diplodocid that we are trying to dig out at the Evil Tree bone bed. And it is still very much stuck. It's articulated to two other vertebrae, which you can't see in this picture, but there is one above it, and there is one diving below this Ceratosaur ischium. Possible ischium. So if you want to come out and help us, if you have nothing planned for July this coming summer, come join us. I will leave a link for you guys to click on and go check it out. It's just for 2 weeks in July, unless you're really liking it and you want to do the full package and you want to go do some lab work too, in which case 4 weeks. So basically the whole month. And you could be part of an awesome experience. You'll learn some new things, and I mean, dinosaurs, guys. Dinosaurs. So I hope to see you guys this summer. Fossilize you later.